How you doing?
How you doing, Robert?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Evil.
So we're here tonight at Encore Records celebrating the release of your self-titled debut CD. Tell me about how Evil United was formed. I know, Donnie, you were in S.A. Slayer. Jason, you were in Watchtower. Is that where the two of you originally met? How'd you all hook up and form Evil United?
Met in '83 after I met some crazy freak, Ricky Warhite.
Oh, wow.
At a concert in Austin. And I was in Watchtower. Donnie was in S.A. Slayer. This guy Ricky was like, oh yeah, I know some guys, they're called Slayer. And I was like, wow, that's weird, another Slayer. He's like, yep. And I told him about Watchtower. Ended up, long story short, just going and hanging and meeting these guys, and been friends ever since. And like Donnie was kind of talking about earlier, it just turned into a long friendship. But like you said, we haven't ever gotten to really write any songs together until recent years, and ended up becoming Evil United. But tell them about the demo stuff you're doing with JV and Todd. And
yeah, the guitar players were writing like some demo songs. They came up with two things and two tunes, and they just passed it around. It was an idea at first. Laid bass on it. Shakes did some drums. Just kind of like kicking, seeing what was going on. And then this guy, he was the only choice for vocals, really. I mean, TC came up to me and he was just like, we need a singer on this. And then, we knew it was him. So
I was standing there.
It was like...
I kind of was. We were backstage at Machine Head, Megadeth.
Oh, that's right.
Heaven and Hell. I'm sure y'all were there at Verizon Wireless. So that'll let you know when the egg...
Yeah, we kind of like threw it in his head, and he said, yeah, fire it over to me. And we sent it to him. And
2.5 years later, here we are, pretty much.
Yeah, he laid down some vocals idea. It was kind of just, an idea. And then when we heard the vocals on it, then it started... we started going, wow, this is something, let's continue on, and it escalated from 2 songs to a full-length, CD.
Now, with Jason, your background being in Dangerous Toys, Watchtower, Broken Teeth, Donnie, you in Riot, Pitbull, Daycare, and the other guys, list goes on and on and on. Was it difficult to all agree on a musical direction for the self-titled debut CD? How did that all work?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're all into old-school metal. I mean, it worked out great. Like I said, years ago, I mean, we were into metal, and that's pretty much what we stick to. We did a few bands, different styles of music, but, in this one, we're just getting back to our roots. I mean, we were all raised on, like, Priest and Maiden, Angel Witch, Accept, stuff like that, our favorite bands. Everybody in this band likes that kind of stuff, so it was kind of natural. I mean, everybody loved it right off the bat,
So I guess that brings me to my next question. I guess the timeline when this was all initially formed was around 2007. You were talking about the Machine Head Megadeth show.
That's about right.
How long had you been working on that material prior to recording the CD? Was it a few years? Were you the primary songwriter for all that?
Yeah, it was a couple of years, because everybody had different skill. He was doing some stuff with his band. Shakes was in, like you said, everybody had different things going on at the time. And so, it was kind of like, during our free time, everybody could add to it. He was doing a couple records, I was doing a record, and so forth, stuff like that. So that's why it took 2 years. It wasn't just because, we're sitting back being lazy, drinking beer like we normally are. It was just kind of like, we're busy, with other projects. So the next one will be out a lot faster now that we're gelled and it's a band.
You already have songs for the next one?
Wow. We've got
How
about
far
6
along
songs
is that?
already.
I haven't heard them yet.
Yeah.
You haven't heard them.
We have 6 songs.
Kind of made a deal with them already. I don't want to hear them until you like them. I don't want to hear them until you got like the whole record, kind of.
Yeah, they're pretty cool,
it's
man.
It's going to take me a while to write the lyrics anyway, so.
We're not in no hurry. This just dropped today, but, we're just being prepared,
Yeah.
We don't want to take 2 years again.
I mean, after listening to the self-titled, I mean, you guys have some pretty aggressive and even technical thrash going on during the album opener, Blasphemer, and songs like Rise and Fall of Earth and Man, and Taking Over the Grandmaster. Being the seasoned metal veterans you guys are, did any of these songs stand out as being a challenge to record in the studio? And looking back, what are your personal favorites from the debut?
Actually, it came natural. I mean, we're all into, besides the metal thing, the technical thing. I mean, he comes from, Watchtower, which was always like a little riffage. Riot did that kind of stuff too. It comes natural for us. I mean, it was kind of cool getting back into this stuff that we really like.
I think Taking Over the Grandmaster is one that Don and I kind of rose to. That was one that's kind of stuck out for me. But as I was writing the lyrics and kind of putting this shit together, it was more, you know, oh, this is the one, you know what I mean? And then it kind of kept going. Oh,
we did that a lot. It was like Dawn of Armageddon. That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, Speak. That's the one. You know what I mean? And then just like, you know,
I knew Dawn of Armageddon was going to be a very round song, because it's got a little bit of everything. It's got the priest, but it's got the merciful fate. So it's got the underground, and it's got the, you know, you can play that on a heavy metal show on radio, whether it's internet or major AOR reporting radio. The song's round, you know, it's got a little bit of everything for everybody. It's not too over the top. It's not too intense.
Right. It's not like
the lyrics are the most intense thing about that song, I think. But Taking Over the Grandmaster, Blasphemer is incredible. I love Blasphemer. But Speak is my favorite song live.
And where did you draw your inspirations from lyrically for the material?
Well, I have to kind of give kudos to the time that I had with a band called Godzilla Motor Company. I was playing bass and singing and writing with those guys. And I was kind of digging in and watching a lot of Planet of the Apes, you know, some sci-fi stuff, and kind of paying attention to, you know, the zealots as far as the science and religion, and, you know, the Bush administration and downfalls of good, bad, and the ugly of those three topics. And leaning in on a lot of sci-fi, more so probably with the Godzilla Motor Company lyrics, but stealing some of that, you know, some of that fun stuff, and using it as some color in more or less very, very angry, aggressive attitude towards what people really think is the truth about religion and war and science and things like that. Because I think that, like in the song Hexorcism, I'm a firm believer that there's a lot of people that are kind of taught this one thing growing up, and they're not allowed by their parents or their teachers or whatever they're forced into to believe anything else. And that's unfortunate, because you should be obviously thinking for yourself and being an individual and stand for something. And I think that heavy metal is for weirdos and misfits and nerds and geeks, and it doesn't really matter who or how you look and how you are personally or anything. You're going to feel right at home. Heavy metal songs are going to be your friends for your whole life. The first time you heard your favorite heavy metal song 30 years later, it's still your friend. So with that attitude mixed in with all of the things that go on in the news, I think is a big influence on the lyrics. But I gotta give it up to sci-fi to kind of make it more fun for me.
And Donnie, being the songwriter, having all these songs go from the demo stages to what they are now, tell me about your initial reaction the first time you heard these tunes with Jason's vocals on. Like, were you floored? Were you knocked over backwards?
Yeah.
Was it the studio? Did you do it by email? How'd that work?
We did it all, yeah, it was a studio project. We never even got together, rehearsed, or anything at all. It was kind of like, Bird would record it, send it to me, I'd lay bass, we'd send it to someone. We did like the drums and guitar at the same place, and then I did the bass somewhere else. JB4 did it in Dallas. He did the vocals here.
At the Igniter studio. Batlord recorded the vocals.
Engineered them and stuff. So yeah, that's the reason why I think we're here now, is because it started, when he sang on it, it gave life to the songs. We were kind of just checking it out. You know, when Todd first gave it to me, I was kind of surprised. You know, he was doing Pitbull for a while, and then I heard that, I was like, damn, that's killer. It's heavy, you know. I love it, you know. So I was like, yeah, man, let's run with this. You know, I put bass on it, and then it started sounding great. We were still kind of like, yeah, where's this going? What are we doing? You know, we asked ourselves that. He asked that. Well, what are we going to do with this? What are we doing? It's like, we're having fun right now, you know. And that's one cool thing about Evil United. We never, like, planned anything. It wasn't like shooting for the stars, you know. We're just like, you know what, let's just have fun. Let's record music that we love, you know. And so when he got it, that's why he was the choice. Hands down, he put the vocals on it. When we heard it, we were like, yeah. That's when we, you know, we heard it taking shape. And then, you know, the first couple were great, and then he'd come back with more, you know, and he'd ask, you know, is this what you're looking for, you know, or critique? And we're like, dude, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And then we said, Jad, Dad, you know, and
Sorry.
and I mean, you know, that's the way you're hearing it now is the way, you know, it came, you know, from him, you know. He polished up in the studio, but he sent us his idea, and it was like, wow.
So that's interesting. The vocals are recorded by Stuart Batlord Lawrence of Agony Column fame, of course, Igniter. Now, tell me about who engineered and produced the rest of the music, because this sounds top notch. Did you guys have a big time producer on this?
Well, kinda. He's a friend of ours. I mean, we all know him. He was. We actually recorded, like you said, JV4, the guitar player, has a studio in Dallas, JV4 Studios. He recorded the guitar up there. Todd Bird actually engineered the drums in his home studio and the guitars. So they did the drums over there. I did a couple bass tracks over there, and then I have a Pro Tool set up at my house where I did the bass, and then he did that. Production-wise was Brian Scott. He was singer in a few bands, that band Union Underground. He was the lead vocalist. Well, that was his group, basically. Anyway, Todd was doing a project with him at the time, and he had done a Pitbull record. He did one of our Pitbull records. And we were kind of like, you know, yeah, let's let this guy do it. He was interested, too. He heard the same thing we did. You know, he plays a real commercial kind of stuff, but when he heard it, he knows metal. He was like, this is great. You know, he liked the way it sounded. So he jumped aboard, you know, and he put it together. And it's got that Brian Scott production. It's metal, it's heavy, it's slick.
It's a modern throw on it.
Yeah, he puts that little twist on it, you know, decorates it a little bit. But, you know, he did it, so, you know, it's good production, you know what I mean? Recorded in pieces, you know, putting the whole thing together. You know, it came out sounding pretty good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Thin Lizzy cover. Let's talk about that. You guys recorded a blazing cover of Massacre. What made you guys choose that song in particular? Was it a tough call?
Bird, Todd, he contacted me about a cover song just to kind of finish out the record, and I thought, why Massacre? Just like you're saying, and Todd kind of brought it to my attention that because of the idea of the lyric, it was more of a historical thing than, like, you know, war and stuff like that. It's kind of a warmonger vibe, but it's about the Indians, American Indian lore. And once he said that, I was in. I was hooked on the idea. Once he said, I don't know, it's kind of working for where you are so far with your lyrics. As soon as he said that, I thought it was a great idea. And it's a great song. It's a little bit challenging for me as a singer. I think more because Philip Lynott has more of a higher mid-tenor voice, and I can sing tenor, but it's on the edge. You know what I mean? So it's a little more gruff for me, you know, to sing up in that area. And so yeah, I think it came out good. It was a lot of fun, and it's heavy as shit. I thought I'd ever hear Massacre sound that heavy.
Yeah, we had a lot of choices we were kicking around. I mean, obviously, you know, we big Thin Lizzy fans, you know, old school, that kind of stuff. UFO. We were actually doing another little project with Dave McClain from Machine Head, where we're doing just nothing but old metal covers. Like it was Bird, me, Jason, and McClain. We did like Bastille Day and
Atomic Punk,
Fast as a Shark. You know, we did all he recorded the drums and sent them to us, so we did a prize. So there's a CD floating around. I actually was thinking Fast as a Shark, we were going to put a bonus track on there with Dave on drums, Fast as a Shark, because it came out sounding great. And then we had done Massacre, and it was kind of in there. And Bird, being a great Thin Lizzy fan, Scott Gorham fan, and stuff like that, he really had his heart set on Massacre. So let's do this one. Maybe next record
glad that
we'll do. And it's kind of obscure too, because it's not like, you know, a lot of people will do Fast as a Shark. A lot of people will do The Norm. You know, Massacre's cool. I heard like Maiden do a version of it, but I mean, I think it sounds cool. You know what I mean?
So, standing here with two of the busiest metal musicians in Texas, obviously the question on a lot of fans' minds is, you got the self-titled debut record out. Are you going to tour in support of it? What's up with that?
Hard to tour right now because of cost of living, fuel prices. You know, broken teeth. We own a tour bus and we can't afford the fuel. I canceled a summer tour this year with Broken Teeth just because of that. And, you know, we're looking to get some distribution on the record, Evil United debut, but, you know, a lot of labels will ask you, do you plan on, you know, going out and, you know, in support of this, and, you know, on your own? Not necessarily. There's not really anything such as tour support anymore, unless you know, work for Dodge pickups, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have something kind of pulling the strings for you to be comfortable out there. We're not 19 years old anymore, so you can't just go, hey, fuck it, man, let's get in the station wagon, and, you know, it's no.
We've done that.
I can't.
I did that about 5 years ago.
I don't sleep in cat piss anymore. I don't sleep in cat piss anymore. So we would love to, but it's just got to be right. You know, we can't just go out and like hope someone shows up to the club, because there's not any money left over. Once you burn the gasoline up, there's no money left over to promote a show. This is just an analogy that's in the same shoe. So we want to get some distribution, so at least it's in the store. Maybe if there's a market that kind of swells up with the idea, maybe we can do something like this, and it'd be worth it for us to at least get our personal funds together to do fly-in and play at a couple of record stores and maybe a couple of clubs all in one market. Like Chicago has a good, you know, we could go to New York and play Jersey and a couple of different places, Philly or whatever, and just a rent-a-car, go back to the airport and come home with our guitars. You know what I mean? That's an idea that I think can work. You still lose money, but you made a lot of fans happy, and your distribution / label is very happy. So it's almost worth it to do that instead of sleep in the human question mark shape or on someone's floor with a drunk party. You're looking at people's feet trying to crash and cat piss. No, I'm done.
Unless we get signed, you know, by Warner Brothers and get, you know, $1 million in tour support, you know, I mean, we're flying around in a private Evil United jet, yeah.
And then monkeys fly out of all of our butts.
Yeah, you know, but, you know, I mean, yeah, we want to get out there. I mean, you know.
The idea is to always go all the way. But the reality is tough when you're still, don't quit your day job. You know, we all learn that. You gotta have the money to put up. I mean, you know, this record cost Evil United $3,000 or $4,000. You know, I mean, just in the time that that's what we've racked up.
And it sounds like 15.
It does. It sounds like 15,000. I'll take that as a huge compliment.
1,500 or 15,000?
$15, you know? Yeah. But, so that's the idea, of course, but...
Festivals.
We'll see.
Is another
same
story.
thing. Same thing.
You know, festivals are a little easier to do. They like bands like
when
this.
there's a high profile, even though you're going to get to do a 45-minute set, when they're high profile and your name is, you know, being recognized on a poster with a big fat name like whatever, Motorhead or something, it's worth it to buy the plane fare and a bag of CDs and go. But it's not worth it to just, you know, get in the van and hope someone comes to your shows in, you know, Little Rock.
So you guys literally moments ago released your killer debut CD. I know you're headlining a huge venue in San Antonio tomorrow. What's next for Evil United?
More of the same. Make a new record. Try to take over the world with heavy metal.
Fall into place, you know, make another record, you know, put it out there and see what happens.
Make sure everyone's smiling when they listen to Evil United.
We have shopped. I mean, you know, we put it in the right hands. We'll see what happens. We got a couple things brewing and stuff like that. So just getting it out, letting the people hear the music and get familiar with the name. You know what I mean? That's going to be the biggest thing for us.
The more people we get excited about it, the more things could possibly happen and hopefully will.
That's what we're doing. Like, you know, we're starting to spread throughout Texas. Let it just, you know, get the record out there. Let people know who we are. Then maybe something will come about. You know what I mean? But, you know.
Definitely.
We'll work on the next one.
Well, Jason and Donnie, thank you both so much for taking the time to talk metal.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Before we wrap this up, any last words for your fans watching at home?
Evil United.
Metal like a son of a bitch.
That's it.